And now a popular segment on our show, Sean Zakora, Astrology.
Thank you.
And since this is not my area of expertise, I will just mention that Sean said this is Planets of the Week and the month of June, which I've heard from a number of people who know the subject that it's an important month and we should pay attention. Sean, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Okay, so please tell us what we should look for. We should be prepared.
Well, we like to start with where's the moon, Josh? What sign is the moon
Okay,
in?
where's the moon? The moon's in Virgo.
Yes.
Ho! Thank you very much. Okay.
Way to go.
Thank you.
So Virgo's kind of mercurial, Mercury, and whenever we talk about Mercury, it's thinking and giving and taking information. We're talking about at molecular level, the small exchange of quick frequencies, all kinds of energy like that. Each glyph is a novel in itself, so you can go on and on. But basically, when the moon's in Virgo, we're going to do a lot of talking about detail. So I thought I'd go with kind of give it an overview. We just had an eclipse on May 20th.
That's right.
Yeah, and just before that...
That doesn't happen very often, does it?
Actually, we do have eclipses. It's whenever the full moon or the new moon lines up close to the moon's nodes, which is basically one of the lines that crosses over the apparent motion of the sun. So when things kind of line up, when the moon is just right with the sun, and the nodes give us an indicator, and it's all math that we keep track of as astrologers.
Okay.
But we always have a new moon and a full moon, once a month roughly. This with the cycles about 30 days, give or take.
Okay.
And, so when it lines up with those nodes, so we had a annular eclipse. It was just off of a total eclipse, but it was very, very powerful. A solar eclipse is more external. And back to this moon in Virgo, and
Yes.
and the other sign that's associated with Mercury is Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
So Gemini and Virgo have a lot to do with Mercury, and it's fascinating that it was at 0 degrees Gemini. So whenever something's at 0, I talk about it's new, or we're not quite sure, or it's like a child, everything's wonderful, and there's no old jadedness. It's just kind of new and exciting. But this is all moving towards what we really want, because what happened in May 15th, basically the middle of May, was Venus went retrograde, and Venus is what we desire. So we're all kind of having issues. It might just be subconsciously, or might be out in the open now with that eclipse, of the physicality of what do I really want? What do I desire? And it all ties in with this Mercury of the thinking. Mm-hmm. So if you're not knowing exactly what you want, it's always tricky, but maybe take a step back and if you can see how you're processing your information, when you listen to people, how do things come across? Or when you're talking, how do people react to you? Or if you record yourself, like we can watch the show later and I'll learn a lot, So you can somehow, or journal or whatnot, or some kind of, Mercury's communication, whether you're recording it, talking to friends and get some honest feedback, hopefully, or whatever. But it's all about figuring out our mental process and what we desire.
Now, wait. So you're saying
Sure.
that this is in the forefront of our thinking now.
This is
Okay.
It could be just subliminal. Some of us get strong hits. Some of us just work with it's just kind of going on. I don't know. A lot of us, we might be confused, because if you think about it, thinking about it, no pun intended, can be tricky, because we do our thing and we're not self-conscious a lot, unless maybe we're on a show or something and you're thinking, oh my gosh, am I saying this right? But
Sure.
But everyday life, we pretty much do our things, and sometimes we say too much and we wish we said less, and sometimes vice versa, we wish we did say something. Sometimes we just take a quick drink of water and everything's good and pause, But so there's, anyways, this Venus Mercury really focusing on these energies, and then the Virgo too is more doing and working with the details, working with our hands. Mercury's also the hand. So there's all this thought, like I said, maybe even subconscious, of what do we really want, or how do we want things to be? And with this Venus retrograde, it's kind of like, well, some of the things you might notice is you can reconnect with old loves, old heartthrobs, old relationships. Tends to be women, but it can be either way, because some of the women are going to meet men, but you'll cross paths. It's sort of like Mercury retrograde, where you reconnect.
Wait, so you're saying that for a large number of people, suddenly you're going to reconnect with an earlier past? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. That's a great way to look at it. Yeah, you could run into old people, old flames, and it might make you think about things, but always caution, Venus will actually, the very end of June, the 27th, it'll go direct, or it'll stop being retrograde. And then, so if you have all of a sudden someone out of the past and you're like, this is great, I'm just going to drop everything and have a relationship with this person, you might want to take it slow and wait till, into July and see if it's really going to, come to fruition. Because a lot of things in life, they pop on us, and then we might be sorry. We also have another way of looking at Venus is the Saturn is in Libra, which is also a Venus ruled sign. And we're all having a lot of relationship issues now. A lot of people are struggling, a lot of conflict. And again, not again. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but in October, Saturn will go into Scorpio, so the relationship issues will change.
You didn't mention it today yet. No.
Yeah. So that's another thing about Venus, because all these planets rule. You're always cross-referencing, and I don't want to get too much into that. But the Saturn relationships has been a struggle for a lot of us. So this Venus retrograding, it's another opportunity if we use it positively to reflect and maybe look at those old relationships and flames and see where they didn't work, and the new one might not be so bad in perspective. Or it could be bad and it's not working out, and you might go back with an old flame or something. But
if the old one was so good, you wouldn't have left the old one. I mean, it just seems like,
Yeah. Well, that's how some people think. Some people want to go back. They get stuck in the past, or people evolve. Or I know somebody had a very interesting relationship in school, in high school, or it was junior high actually, and they got back together again after a couple of marriages on each one of them.
Oh dear.
Much like.
Oh dear.
So it was meant
Sounds
to
like
be
a reality show, really.
Yeah.
You should produce that one, Sean.
Yeah, if we're filming that, it would be great. Yeah. So that's kind of what's going on roughly. I wanted to run down some more dates. And,
go ahead. Yeah.
And so like I said, in the middle of May, Venus went retrograde, reconnecting with love, and then that solar eclipse, which kind of I think a lot of people knocked their socks off. The energy was kind of low for some people and kind of dazed, because again, we're what do you really want, and how do you really think about it, or how do you just think in general? These are pretty close to our hearts. I mean, what functions, what we desire. If we want really good health, are we really going to focus and knuckle down and do suggestions from people like yourself, or are we just kind of thinking about it and not doing it? So it's kind of, from your perspective, maybe give people a little patience, and maybe I'll get some more information from you later, or at least by June. And then so June 4th is another big day. Neptune goes retrograde, and that's another. All these planets, except for the Sun and Moon, in astrology terms, can go retrograde. So Neptune can be nebulous. It's the dream state, subconscious. We really analyze our dreams. It's a good time when a planet stations or goes from forward to backwards, or vice versa. It's very focused. So that's that day, and within a couple days on either side, you can really pick up some information from dreams, or just actively, if you express yourself with art, something really beautiful can come out. And what you desire, and because what we create I talk about the Virgo and Pisces polarity. The Virgo's the little details with your hands making it happen with work, but the vision, you need the Piscean energy to just have a vision, so you know what you're heading for. Like the great bodybuilders, they look at themselves in the mirror, and they're always thinking how they want to be, what they want to get larger or smaller, whatever that. So it's a great time to image and see what you really desire with these first energies I was talking about.
Time to work with those leg weights. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. The calves don't match the biceps. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing. Also, still on June 4th, right out of the bat in this month, there's a lunar eclipse, and that's at 14 degrees Gemini, and that's on Venus's nodes. And that's, again, re-emphasizing the lunar eclipse is more interior, but what we desire, the Venus, it brings in the Venus connecting with its nodes and its contact point with the ecliptic. So, again, it's re-emphasizing what do you really want. So it's a great day to dream and vision and just pick up the vibes of what you want. And on the cautious side, if someone just seems too perfect and so dreamy, wait till, when you're dating or whatever you do with them, don't just run out and get married. Wait till the end of the month at least, and it might wear off. It might be a great start and keep building, but just a word of caution in that area.
Okay, so let's go up that June 4th date again.
Yeah.
So now, what's the aspect again in the sky?
Well, Neptune, the Neptune guy, he just went into Pisces, and he went up to about 3 or so, and he's gonna kind of freeze and retrograde. So and it's also natively in the 12th house energy. It's very much our subconscious and what we can learn in the dreaming power. And you might see a great movie that day. That might be a great day to go see a movie, or maybe a scriptwriter, somebody doing media like we are. It'll come out, very potent, very visual. You'll see a lot of hot colors. Or dreamy people also could be facades or whatever, how people change, they might do a makeover, could be really, really interesting. And then that eclipse, again, focusing on the Venus, which is another way of our desires. Venus and Neptune are associated in some ways. People look at as the higher and lower vibration of, how we connect with beauty and what we want to draw in. So I want to keep going, and let's see if I could squeeze in. I have Jupiter. The very next day, June 5th. I'm getting June and Venus mixed up. Venus will go across the sun. So it's not an eclipse, but an occultation. It's very interesting, and that's very rare. And this is, again, us connecting with our higher dreams and goals. And it's a fascinating point. I'm not going to get too much into that. And I think we're running out of time here, right?
No. We are going to take a short break, and
Okay.
we'll come back to another little segment.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So we're chatting
Great.
with Sean Sikora, who is an astrologer. And Sean, how can people get in contact with you, by the way?
Just go to my website, astrology1234.com.
Astrology1234.com.
Correct.
Okay, that's easy. It's good.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break. You're listening to Here's to Your Health. My name is Josh Lane, and we're on the LA Talk Live radio network. We'll be right back after these important messages.